feel like this year's team can be even better defensively?
A little more size. Obviously, we had size last year at the rim, but I think our positional size, obviously with the ability to play Yaks at the 3 at times, just overall size and then speed at the point of attack. Roddy's improved athletically, LJ getting more minutes, and then the addition of a guy like Elliot Goodell gives you a little bit more speed at the point of attack to maybe cancel some ball screens out and do some different things defensively, and then the versatility as a whole, the switchability, the ability to take on switches and play with size at the rim and really allow our bigs to kind of guard on the perimeter.
I know offensive rebounds was an issue at times last season. Do you feel like you guys are going to do a better job of limiting the one-shot and finishing possessions?
I hope so. I mean, I think it's definitely been a focus of ours, both offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding. I think if you look at our team, we're built to be good there. So it's on us as a team and as a staff to address those issues and make sure we're really focused on it.
You mentioned Yak. So what have you learned over the last few weeks and months about him?
He's an elite processor and passer. Like, obviously, he can rebound the basketball, he's good defensively, he's good around the rim, he can make threes, but the ability to pass and really process the game and make tough decisions look simple has been really impressive.
Dusty said after every practice he looks at assist-to-turnover ratio and shooting splits.
Yeah.
What in those two categories, where do you think this team can grow, and why are those areas?
Grow. I think we've grown a lot throughout the summer. I think our shot diet is impressive in terms of we're shooting a lot of threes, we're shooting a lot of shots in the paint around the rim, and then we're really not shooting a ton of mid-range jump shots. We're not living with that. So I think the young guys would be the main culprit, right? Just learning how we play and kind of what we value. And I think on both sides of the ball, if you think about it, your defense, how you guard defensively, it should inform how you play offensively and vice versa. So making sure defensively we're trying to force those shots and offensively we're trying to stay away from those shots.
Did you identify stuff that was a pattern last year in turnovers that you've been working on this year? Yeah,
a little bit. I would just say keeping the game simple. Like the first open guy is usually the best option for us. Transition, half court, all those things. So just being able to keep the game simple and getting our guys to buy into that. I think that's the beauty of coming back for year 2 is we have a little bit more awareness in terms of some of the areas that we could be susceptible to. So being aware of that and really trying to attack those things in the summer versus kind of when they arise throughout the season, it's been better for us.
Justin, is there any way to know now, if the whole will be greater than the sum of the parts, or at least equal to it? A lot of talent on the team, but sure. It's a lot of new pieces too.
I think our guys are built to the right stuff. I think that's the best way to kind of, assess that. We have guys that are unselfish. We have guys that care about winning. We have guys that are really self-motivated, but at the same time want to win, want to do something special at the University of Michigan. And I think, like I said, those two things can create greatness within our program.
Dusty talked about how you guys wanted to actually buy into the expectations. How do you do that while still keeping the team focused on it?
Yeah, I think you got to be process focused. Obviously, there's a level of expectation, specifically externally, right? Like people think we're really good. I think people think we have a really good roster. But I think in order to reach greatness, you have to be process oriented. Like we got to win practice today. We got to win our film session before practice. We got to win our player development sessions. We got to win everything within the margin so that we can win in March.
It was about this time last year, maybe you guys started getting inklings of the 4-5 pick and roll working. Are there combinations that you've seen so far this summer that could be effective down the line?
Yeah, certainly. I think I think obviously Yaks is a really good player, and like I said, he can really process the game and make plays. So I think we'll use him similarly to Danny in terms of the 4-5 pick and roll. I think having Elliot is going to give us a little bit more of a push in transition, and then obviously we can put the ball in his hands. And he's really good at creating penetration, getting on the rim, and obviously making plays for other guys.
What are your takeaways from this freshman class so far?
Really, really high level care factor. Like they really value being good players, and they really value being good players in Michigan. And I think that's really important. Obviously, Trey McKinney was born here and really values the Michigan experience and wants to be great here. Winters Grady is a guy that has high expectation as a player and is his identity is being a really good player and chose Michigan for the right reasons, just to become a really good player and become a professional. And then obviously Ricky and Malik and those guys are kind of newer to the process, but Ricky has been a breath of fresh air in terms of just his acceptance of role, his ability to fight every possession, and he really has done a great job making himself better and then making our players better. And then Malik is just really athletic, really big, and takes pride in the physicality of the game for a young player. Obviously we know that at the Big Ten you need big, physical bigs, and he's certainly that.
He's sort of late to basketball though, as
Yeah.
far as where is he at with the concepts and
Getting
college
better
ball.
a lot, you know. I think we've had some guys that have been out throughout the summer and the fall, so I think that's given him a chance to get more reps, and that's really a positive for him, and it's a positive for us, honestly, because you know the faster we can get him up to speed, the better he's going to be this year, but certainly in the long term.
How about Oscar? I mean, obviously he was here last year, so it's hard to think of him like a freshman, but he's also not grouped in with all the veteran forwards and big men. So, I mean, what do you see his role?
He's played really good ball. Like the last probably 4 or 5 weeks, he's played really good ball, efficient, shooting the ball better. Playing with the toughness that we've been, that's one of the reasons we recruited him, the athleticism around the rim and the toughness and the physicality. He started to bring that a little bit more. I think we forget that he's 18 years old, you know, like he's a young player. Now you look at guys like Yak's 23 years old, these guys are older and a little bit more seasoned. So just giving him time to develop, and I think we've done that as a staff and as a team, and he started to really play good ball. So he should be somewhere in that mix, but I think it's important just to continue to stay the course.
And Roddy obviously went through some tough months last year. Is there a way that that's going to make him all the better this year, like he's being sort of slept on in a way?
Absolutely. I think it's hardened him, and I think he, you know, anytime you come back for year 2, like there's a little bit more comfortability. You know what to expect. You know, obviously, I think we gave him a lot of credit being that he was in the Big Ten for 2 years at Ohio State, and then coming back and not playing at Michigan. But I think it's a new year. It's a new team. It's a new staff for him, so it takes a little bit of time to adjust. And I think, you know, one of the things with Roddy that he did a great job of is he just stayed in the fight, stayed in the process. It was really process oriented, and as a result, had greatness at the end of the year for us.
Skepticism about Wolf and Glad playing together preseason. I think even Dusty expressed a little bit of concern. Now you got 3 guys that are, you know, sort of classic bigs. Is that plausible to have 3 big guys like that on the court at the same time?
I think it is, just because they're all different and they're all a little bit versatile in their own ways. Obviously, Yak's being probably the most versatile, just being 6'9", 6'10", and being, you know, so good offensively with the ball in his hands and so switchable defensively. But like Merez is the same way in terms of the defensive instincts and the ability to kind of cover up mistakes, the ability to switch and guard smalls on the perimeter. He has that ability, and he really likes to dig down and guard in that way. And then, you know, Adai is the lead around the rim, and I think we're going to continue to challenge him to guard on the perimeter. But it may look a little bit different with Adai at the 5 than it will be with Merez at the 5, than it will be with the Yaks at the 5. But I think versatility as a whole is a good thing. And then when you think about the best teams in college basketball, at the end of the day, they're big. They can control the rim. They can control 2-point percentage offense, 2-point percentage defense. They can control offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding. So us leaning into our strengths and being great around the rim with our size is going to help us be great.
So if you're playing Merez or Yaks at the 5, it's plausible to switch. You won't be doing any drop coverage or little drop coverage with them, but with a day you'll be doing more drop coverage, I assume. Is that a reasonable
More
assumption?
so, and I think, you know, they all have their own versatility. I do think, you know, you look at Adai at UCLA, they hard showed a lot with him. So we can do some of that stuff with him, or we can do it in our own way. I think Merez can do switch, he can hard show, he can drop. Obviously, I think, you know, Yak can do the same. But again, the versatility in this league, you're not going to be able to beat the best of the best by doing one thing. So you're going to have to switch it up and do other things to keep teams off balance and keep the great players and great coaches on their heels.
As a player, a point guard, what did you prefer? When you came down the court, what did you rather see? Were you happier looking at drop coverage or a team that could switch, or
the way I'd message it is like, if I wanted to score, then I want to play against drop. If I want to get guys involved, I want to play against hard show and get 2 on the ball. So depending on who we're playing against and what they excel at offensively, it's going to inform what we do defensively.
You mentioned wanting to, get out in transition more, get on the glass. How much does having guys like Merez and Axel and their athleticism help you do that?
A lot. A lot. I mean, their ability to change ends and get out and run. Obviously, rebound the ball first, but get out and run and change ends is huge for us. You know, Merez is a great athlete. Yaks is a guy that can be a play finisher in transition. He can be a play starter in transition. So it gives us a little versatility there, much like Danny Wolf a little bit. And then Adai is such a good runner. He's so good around the rim. And then he's a great passer on the perimeter. So if you want to play in some delay action or you want to get him into a flash catch and now make decisions and play make for other guys, he's elite at that as well. So just again, the versatility is going to be a theme throughout this year for us.
When I looked at Cordell's tape, he seemed super athletic.
Yeah.
But not a basketball player, my opinion. I mean, are you seeing that? That progressing, or am I way off on
He's
this?
getting better. He's becoming a better player through reps a ton, through film, and he's really eager to learn and get better. So that's helped him a lot. But I think the one thing that for us is it's really important for our guys to live in their strengths. Like, we want our guys to be the best at what they're good at, and then continue to improve their weaknesses through time, through reps, through experience. And he's done that at a great pace. But I think the most important thing for him is knowing who he is and excelling at those things as his basketball IQ and his game catches up.
Do you sometimes find yourself, answer this, I guess, at odds with other coaches in terms of what you think should happen versus what they think should happen, either sort of tactically, or is this just always a matter of collaboration?
It's always collaboration. I think we got a great staff. We got guys that really are unselfish and care about winning and have very low egos. So I think when you have good minds working together, trying to achieve a common goal, hopefully you get to the right solution in order to give yourself the best chance at winning.
And what about you? What do you want to do? And what's your plan? You want to be a head coach? I mean,
my plan is to have a great year at Michigan and continue to make the big time where I'm at. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better than this. I'm at the University of Michigan, a world-class institution. I work for one of the best coaches in the game, and with a great staff and great young men. So, I'm living my dream.
Justin, last year, one of the things that it took a minute to see evolve was role definition. You talk about get on pushing the transition. Danny could do that. And it took a minute, it felt like, for Trey, Danny to kind of settle into, hey, I got a big that can do that too. How's that going as far as Elliott and Yax are concerned?
It's going well. I mean, I think Yax gets the ball off the glass. He's going to bring it. Obviously, we want Elliott to bring it in space with his pace and his ability to play make for other guys. I think what's really important is our staff going into year 2 in the league, going into year 2 at the University of Michigan. We have the ability now to kind of know what it looks like from a league perspective, know what it looks like, and be able to give our guys the best chance at success. So just really give them a chance to live in their strengths and be great at what they do.
It felt like as you got later in the season, certainly as games wound down, kind of classic role definition.
Sure.
Your point guard to kind of take that over started to kind of rise to the fore. Do you kind of see a similar thing happen, or does that happen from the beginning of the season this year?
I think you figure out your team throughout the year, obviously. I think late in games and late in seasons, you've got to do a good job of getting the shot you want. And so Coach May and our staff does a great job of, at times, getting our guys organized, getting into action that we want to expose maybe a mismatch or to expose a coverage that we can attack and set our guys up for success. So there's going to be a blend of flow, there's going to be a blend of pace and freedom, but at the end of the day, we got to make sure we get quality shots, especially at the end of games.
One of the things you talked to Marez about when he came, he said, listen, I want to be able to develop as an all-around guy.
Yeah.
But then balancing that with, he was a beast, around the rim. He was an enforcer type guy.
Yeah.
So how are you guys as a staff sort of helping him balance that as he gets here to try to evolve his game, but maintaining that beast-like mentality?
The beautiful thing about Rez is he knows who he is, and he's never going to shy away from being physical, being explosive around the rim, being forceful. So he's always going to be that. But I think the important thing, for Coach May and the rest of our staff is just to empower him to continue to get better and evolve and become a better player while living in your strengths and while being great at the things you already are. And I think, for Rez, he's been able to explore his game certainly throughout the summer, and he's gotten better at certain things, and he's going to continue to evolve as the season progresses. But he's never going to lose who he is, which is an enforcer, which is a physical force around the rim who plays with high energy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.